This story is crazy. You saw the play.
I've seen the play, the TV show. I even dressed up as her.
Oh my God, I'm dead. That's amazing. You look unreal as well.
Thanks, Charlotte.
You suit a juicy tracksuit.
You know what? That wig was like £15 from Amazon, and every now and then I just put it on at home.
Oh my God,
to be
why not?
I would too.
Welcome to the Sherlock's Team Podcast with me, Charlotte Collins. This week I'm joined by Harriet Russell, Sherri Andrew, and what do we call you? Hodge. And Hodge. Sarah Templeman. Hodge.
One word.
You're always
Hodge.
surprised.
Today we were talking about ugly names, and Hodge was like, yeah, my name's Hodge. I was like, you don't, it's not
That's a choice.
You don't have to go by Hodge.
Where
True.
does, for new listeners, new watchers, where does Hodge actually come from?
So my maiden name was Sarah Hodgkinson.
Okay.
But my husband's sister is called Sarah, and his brother married a girl called Sarah. So there were 3 Sarah Templemans when we met. So I just got called Hodge from
Were
that
you
point.
Hodge? Did your friends call you Hodge anyway?
No, but they call my brother Hodge. So my mum finds it so
Okay.
appalling that people call me Hodge.
Okay.
Because she's
That's her brother to you?
yeah. So she finds it really odd.
All my friends call me Co.
Really?
Always.
Really?
Yeah. Like the beginning of Collins. Yeah. Yeah.
I love hearing what
Cool.
people's friends
Well,
are about me.
this will blow your mind because at home I am not Harriet. I'm actually a Hattie.
Really?
No, this
I
blows
knew
my
this.
mind when this happens. You are not Hattie.
No, I didn't think you were a Hattie.
That is
Since I was born,
mind-blowing.
basically. If my mum calls me Harriet, there's something really wrong. Really
You're in trouble.
Yeah,
That's like
either I'm in
yeah.
trouble or someone's died.
Because
Same
Georgina
surname.
Blasky is Georgie at home, but not
know.
Georgie here because
Yeah.
of Georgie. But also, did you guys know that Loz is very much like Loz only to her closest friends? She's Laura, like generally in life. But because Georgie and her are really good friends, when she came on board, we all just started calling her Loz. But for a long time, I think that was really weird for her because she's like, "You are not my friends. Who are you people?"
To be fair,
Yeah.
in a professional context, I've never been anything but Harriet. But then I used to work in more serious environments. Not to say we're not serious, chill out. We take it all very seriously.
Corporate-y
but-
environments.
Yes, exactly. So it's
You're-
a bit like Sasha Fierce. Like
It's your alter ego. What do your family call you? What's your nickname, Sherri?
Shrew.
Shrew. Like Sherri Andrew.
Becky will sometimes call you
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
Shrew. So it's a nice hybrid.
Not my mum and dad though, only my friends.
Okay.
Shrew or Shares, yeah.
What's everybody been up to? Hattie?
I know, that's so weird.
Yeah.
What have I been up to? I've had a very relaxed time. I watched the rugby at the weekend.
Nice.
Oh,
Is that? I couldn't know less about the rugby. Are we not in it anymore?
We lost by 1 point.
That's
Yeah.
unfortunate. I don't even know how many.
But
points
we
one
did
gets in
lose to
rugby.
South Africa, who are tipped to win the entire thing. We also were not expected to get past the group stage, and we got to the semi-finals.
And right at the end, they beat us.
Yeah, we
though.
were ahead
Such a
for
shame.
most of the game, albeit narrowly. But the South Africans did exactly the same to the French the week before, who were the hosts. So that was also heartbreaking for them, beating them by 1 point.
We obviously won the Rugby World Cup. I mean, that was probably about 20 years ago,
Yeah.
wasn't it? But
With
have we?
Johnny.
Is that what? Nearly exactly. Are we just a significantly less good team now, or have other teams?
We're a
just
bit
much
of a
better?
new team, from what
Okay.
I understand. We've also got a new-ish manager in Steve Borthwick, who's an ex-player. So I think there was just concern that we hadn't had time to kind of meld this team into what they could be. We've also got some legacy players like Courtney Laws who might be on their way out. They probably won't see another World Cup.
He got my husband was shouting Courtney at the TV. I don't know if he'll be around anymore.
It wasn't a good game for Courtney.
I mean, it wasn't a good game for Courtney actually. But we've got some really good players on there. Like Jamie George has been amazing this tournament, and Joe Marler's been great.
But you know a lot.
I know.
Oh, these
literally-
names.
man's dream.
Couldn't tell you the first rule about rugby, and
Well-
here you are knowing the whole team.
So this is my parents' love story, which obviously they're divorced now. So take
Yeah.
it as you will.
Pinch of
Take it as you
salt.
will. But my dad was the youngest rugby captain in his school, so it's been part of our lives, I guess, for a while. And my mum was dating the centre on the rugby team at his school because they were sort of neighbouring schools. And she went to see her boyfriend Chris playing in the match, and my dad was also a centre and came on and subbed for Chris halfway through the match. She broke up with Chris that night. My dad called her up and said, "Is that Isabel Jones?" And she goes, "Who is this?"
Just short-term memory then.
She was playing hard to get, I think.
Oh.
Anyway, that's my
Cute.
parents'
And they were
story.
together from school.
Yeah, so technically my dad then invited her to his 18th birthday party the next
Aw.
week. So my mum was 17. And yeah, she went round to his house. There was a big house party and they just started going out that night. And they were actually married until they were 44. So
Okay. They did
Yeah.
some serious
that's a long
stints.
time.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah. Okay, so rugby's part of the DNA.
It's
then.
part of our fam. Yeah.
it.
So
Makes sense then.
Okay.
we do watch a lot of it.
Do you enjoy it?
Do I? No, not really. Like, I find it's a tough watch. Like, it's a very obviously physical game. I mean, the rugby has got a lot better in terms of there are a lot more laws now around, head injuries.
But the
and-
stats are still terrible.
Yeah.
like,
Well, and I
reports.
hear now, I don't know if this is true, Hodge, maybe you know, but they're saying to parents at schools that rugby is optional. They don't have.
Oh, see, was it
have to
mandatory?
play.
I suppose in some.
Yeah,
schools,
some schools it more football or rugby focused. But my husband is a coach, and my 11-year-old son plays, and he's just solid contact. And oh my god, like the bruises he comes back with and the headaches, I can't bear it.
that's
I'm
awful. Do they wear
definitely pushing him,
helmets?
but they can wear scrum caps.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
But it's funny, so there's a big debate about whether you should wear a scrum cap, because if you wear a scrum cap, you feel more confident, so you go into a more dangerous tackle.
Right.
But if you don't wear a scrum cap, your instinct is to protect yourself, so you don't go as far. But yeah, I definitely would like him to play tennis.
Table tennis. Sherri, what have you been up to?
So I went to Rye, not last weekend, the weekend before, with my friends, which was so nice and wholesome. We got a really lovely house called Number 1 Landgate, which I'd really recommend. If you're like a group of 8 to 10, it's a lovely period property opposite like the old ruins, which I think used to be Rye Castle. And Rye as a town is so pretty.
Everyone says that.
It's so nice. And it's also so easy to get to from London. You can get 2 trains from Stratford International, which is very near me. It takes an hour. And then you're right in the middle of the town. It's like so quaint. There, like, you won't see any like big chain shops. It's all like very small, independent. Lots of like antique shops and homeware stuff and coffee shops. Nice. And we actually, this was so funny, we stumbled on the National Town Crier Championships. Yes. And I was like, whoa.
Do they still do like, hear ye, hear ye?
Yes,
That's
exactly,
the vibe.
with the bells, and we got there for the last moment where they crowned the national champion.
What makes one better than the other?
I think it's who can basically who can shout the loudest for the longest.
Do they exist? Like, do towns have town criers?
Yes.
So they are genuinely town criers. They're not just people who are into
You
town
don't see them
crying.
wandering around Hampstead so much.
Yeah, they're not in Queen's Park. How interesting.
Yeah. So they have like one from Rye, one from like, I don't know, Surrey or whatever.
Love
I guess
that.
it's smaller towns.
Okay.
But yeah, and they win different prizes based on like your costume, based on your performance, charisma. I was like, this is so strange. I felt like we were in Tudor times.
Yeah, I love that.
Very up my street. I find that all really interesting.
Yeah, fascinating. Who won? Do you know anything about them?
So it was no, not really, but it was a Flemish guy, which I thought was interesting, and he did all his speech in another language.
Oh, wow.
So that was quite cool.
And yet still managed to convince them that he should win.
Exactly.
Maybe that's why. Extraordinary. He sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
And he even had like a town crier wife who was also dressed up in a whole outfit.
Now that's
She's just like on brand.
Yeah.
Like that she didn't do town crying or she.
No. She was just there to like
support.
Oh my god.
And sorry, can one be a female town crier?
I don't think so. See, it's a very like, it's quite questionable. Very old school. Obviously, like steeped in tradition. I mean, I didn't even know they still existed.
Hodge, what have you been up to? You were in Dubai last week.
I was in Dubai, which was so fun. I went with Georgie, who just to meet some of the team out there, and she was doing a couple of podcasts and some shoots. So just for when broadcasting sort of kicks off over there, it was great to meet the team. And I've only been with like the children and gone to water parks and that joy. So it was actually so nice to go as a grown up and eat in the food scene.
I was going to say any restaurants of note that people should be earmarking.
Yeah, we went to the Four Seasons on the Palm, and they've got a new restaurant there called Milos, which is a Greek, and it was absolutely insane.
We have one in London.
Oh.
Yeah, like I agree, it's amazing, but you don't have to go all the way to Dubai for Milos. But yeah,
okay, well, good to know.
You need to get yourself down there.
Yeah, it was great. It was really fun. It just really reminded me of being an expat when I lived in Singapore.
Oh yeah,
So
of course.
It was really, just like so hot that as soon as you step outside, you're just so sweaty, and then you're just freezing with aircon. So
You had before you'd gone been wondering about your wardrobe. Like obviously, if you go there for a holiday, like you wear holiday clothes. But if you're going somewhere like that that's super hot, but you're not there on holiday, what you wear? So what did you take in the end, and was it the right thing?
layers. So I just lots of sort of like loose tailoring, and then I wore it. We went to a Roxy Nafisi event. She was launching her new book there. And she is amazing. I don't know if you've met her, but she's so inspiring. She had on this amazing dress, and I wore a black dress to that, which is like a black tuxedo with long sleeves and then short.
Oh, yes, the one.
So, that was good. And then in the days, I just wore sort of trousers, like vests, and then jackets over.
Nice.
So it's
Easy.
really, I feel like Georgie's got her Dubai wardrobe down now.
Yeah. She's been enough now that
Yeah.
she should. Yeah. We've got to talk about TV because A, it's been a really long time. I haven't been on a podcast for a while. B, both Hodge and I cannot believe, of all the people, if you'd asked me to put money on who else in the office will have
true.
watched the Colleen Rooney documentary, I would have said both Harriet and Sherri. So you've let down the side. I thought it was a given. I just assumed that we
I have
would
an
talk about
excuse.
it.
I'm waiting for all my girls to watch it together for a dramatic viewing. When
Okay.
I do a group thing.
Okay.
That's what I have been saving.
People who watched this podcast a few weeks ago will know I'm not interested.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We talked
Yeah.
about her interview in Vogue at
Yes.
quite some length, didn't we, when it came out? And although I appreciate the cultural phenomenon that is Wagatha Christie and its history in the lexicon of our society, I can't get much more interested beyond that.
It's
Okay,
fascinating.
So Harry, I agree with you.
You are wrong.
I do agree with you, like on the scale of it, and I'm sure Sherri will offer a different take because she has a PhD in the subject. But I just it's less. I agree with you. I'm not like that into like Colleen Rooney. I'm not such like wag culture girl, but like this story is crazy. You saw the play.
I've seen the play, the TV show.
Musical.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
It's a musical,
there should be.
I even dressed up with her for Halloween.
Yeah, you said this, and then you
4
showed
years
Hodge,
ago.
and Hodge
As
died. But I
Colleen.
want to see the photo because I haven't seen
As
it.
Colleen, yes. I was leaning into her look when she was at I think it was the 2008 World Cup with Cheryl.
I'd say also this is quite a good companion piece to the David Beckham documentary because
Fair enough.
it's offering
Yeah.
two
It's
sides
of
of
the
the coin.
time.
It's of the time.
Shrew, look at that.
Let's see. Oh my god, I'm dead.
Dying.
That's amazing. You look unreal
know.
as well.
Thanks, Charlotte.
You suit a juicy tracksuit.
You know what? That wig was like £15 from Amazon, and every
it.
now and then I just put it on at home.
Oh my god,
to be like,
why not?
I would too.
For those listening, Sherri went full Colleen Rooney, juicy tracksuit,
tracksuit.
wig,
fake Chanel handbag.
Sunglasses on the head.
and a
everything.
printout of the sun.
Indeed.
So, can I tell you one of my most interesting takeaways from the document? Hang on. We should give this some context for those who are like, what the hell are they talking about? Because
How can people not know?
well, you say
unless
that.
you're
Georgie was just like, what are you talking about? Anyway,
I can't believe that.
but you know what? I'll let you tell it. You know it better than me. Yeah, like what happened?
Oh, so Colleen did a sting operation on her own Instagram where she
generous.
no, but she did.
No,
She was
it's
very
not generous,
clever.
Harriet. That's spot on.
It was genius. So she realised that someone on her close stories was leaking stuff to the press, just random stories that were happening that then would then end up in the Daily Mail, etc.
Well, no, specifically the Sun.
Sorry,
We'll come back to it,
specifically
but it
the
is specifically
Sun.
The Sun,
Sorry.
yeah.
And then she filtered down her story, so only one person was watching it, and then she was releasing more fake news to see if it got into the press, which it then did, and then she realised who it was, and then that's when the iconic, it's ... Rebecca Vardy's account. And that's when everyone went wild back in 2019.
Yeah.
And then that launched a whole wag wars. Someone dubbed her Wagatha Christie. And then here we are.
And here we are, a court case later, a TV show later, a Vogue cover later.
Yeah.
I mean, Hodge, it is like the most, when you watch it, you're like, A, she's a genius, and B, it is like Rebecca Vardy's an idiot. Like, she just walks straight into this trap. It's insane.
And the way they tell it is so good. And actually, when she goes to the... Harriet's like, oh, fuck.
I promise you, it's so good.
good.
When
Too good.
she goes to the lawyers and plots out, because then what happens is then Rebecca Vardy takes her to court for defamation of character, and because she was 7 months.
That was the start of
Which
it.
is also so funny
So
because it's like,
strange.
but she's got all the evidence. Like, you clearly did it.
It's crazy that she did that. Who was her advice?
No, but
You
who?
may probably Jamie.
Oh, you mean that she took her to
Rebecca.
court? I know.
Yeah.
She thought that she obviously didn't realise she had the evidence. Yeah, but also she wrote what she'd done in the caption, like the whole thing. She
Yeah.
explained
Too
how
much
she found it
evidence.
out.
Yeah. And then she was like, "Oh, sorry, my PA lost my phone at the bottom of the sea."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah, extraordinary.
Anyway.
but yeah, she goes to the lawyers or the barrister, and he says she did a really good job.
Yeah.
on putting this case together.
She genuinely put the evidence together. Like, It's crazy. She just had this hunch that it was Rebecca Vardy, and it was on her private Instagram. So she's got like 300 followers, and she
So
was going,
literally just a hunch.
yeah. Well, basically, what was really
because of the
interesting,
Sun.
the
Yeah.
Sun. So I didn't know this because of after Hillsborough, the Sun basically printed some false information, which means that all the people, I didn't know this, that everyone in Merseyside is completely anti the Sun. It's like a totally
They don't
banned
sell it there.
rag. They won't sell it. Yeah, newsagents won't sell it.
that.
Yeah, I didn't either. Completely. Ever since then, it's been just like, off it. So she knew that it would never be anyone from home who was selling stories to the Sun. And by process of elimination, she was like, it has to be somebody who's got a relationship with them, because what are they standing? And no one else here is standing anything to gain unless it's publicity. And then basically at a certain point in time, Rebecca Vardy had a front cover of Fabulous magazine. And then 2 days later, more of her private stories were leaked. So she's like, hang on, she's doing this as a quid pro quo. She's giving the Sun material, and they're raising her profile and pitching her as like, whatever, the new Victoria Beckham.
The new queen of football. First
Exactly.
lady of
And I
football.
love how the PR lady is like, she was not. And so that's how she worked it out. And it was crazy. Like, I won't ruin like the other stings that she does, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
But she didn't tell her husband or her agent. She didn't tell anyone. And at the time, Wayne had been, he'd gone to sign for a play for a club in Washington, D.C. And she was so lonely. She's obviously very close to her family. And she was really, really, really homesick. So obviously she had a lot of time.
Yeah, she literally just used
to think
it
about this
to be a sleuth.
Well, I was going to say, is this not just a case of the most desperate, bored housewives ever?
Yeah, we did watch it and say that they haven't got a bit too much time on their hands this moment. But still, to be fair, I get it. If I were her and someone was leaking my private, it's personal stuff. You'd want to know who the hell
and it
was.
made her like question everyone in her life, and know, and feel like that she couldn't trust anyone. And
so the reason it kicks off is because there's a point at which Wayne, I don't know if you remember, she was in Mallorca with her family. Wayne was back in the UK, and he was done for driving at 3 times the speed limit in a girl's car. Anyway, so they split up at that point. She went to live with her parents. She, at a point in which they were like getting back together and they were like trying to work through things, she put up a photo of them like in bed together with the kids, like all in pajamas, just on her private story. So, little things like that then would leak. And it's like Wayne and Colleen back together, but she wasn't ready to like state it to the world. She also had a very minor car crash in DC, like a really scraped the side of her car, like totally fine. He drove off like all cool. But then, and she'd put a thing being like, oh, sad, my dented car. And then it had like leaked like to all the British press. Colleen Rooney has major car accident, and so it was more just that it was like creating a false narrative around her life and like being misinterpreted, rather than that she was sharing really deep personal information.
I'm sorry to keep pulling at this thread, but did she not think that even putting stuff like my dented car, me and the kids, Wayne, are back in bed together, even on a closed story, is like someone's gonna send that somewhere.
Well, I think she trusted that was her circle that wouldn't.
Well, she's an idiot then. I'm sorry. She's an idiot.
She should never have let. Well, Rebecca Vardy was weird and like pushed her way in though as well.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
was quite
because in the
interesting.
Vogue interview, you said this at the time. You said in the Vogue interview, she refers to her as an acquaintance.
Not a friend.
Yeah, no, they were not friends.
So why is she in her close
Yeah,
ID?
well, she
No,
did
that's what I
ask her
understand.
if
She
she
pushed
could
her.
join.
Yeah.
No, but if she's also a wag and you're like in similar circles, if they're playing together for England or whatever, she knows her, she sees
All
her.
keys to say no.
Yeah.
To follow requests.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And she
I'd
when
say
they
no.
split up, Rebecca Vardy said like, oh, we've got an outhouse if you want to come and stay with the kids. It's really private. Like she had kind of
read a
reached.
guest house.
What did I say? An
Outhouse.
outhouse.
That's a
She actually called it an annex.
Or whatever.
That's the same thing.
she probably had an outhouse too.
okay.
Whatever. She said come and stay, and so she was trying to be friendly, but obviously because she's weird.
Ulterior motive.
Yeah.
Strange.
What becomes of Rebecca Vardy now? That is my.
Oh my god, I don't care.
Oh, yes, you do.
No, I just.
I do have sympathy for her though. I really do.
She really made a massive mistake.
She did,
really
and she's made
embarrassing.
herself look like a fool.
Yeah.
She
Just
has.
like to
Amazing though what stories like gripped the British public though. And it was like, it was wild.
The way she did it.
And also, there hasn't been like good wag stuff going on for years.
Yeah.
Since Baden-Baden.
Like since
Since
Cheryl Cole.
Baden-Baden.
Yeah,
Cheryl Cole is a loss to the wag
She
culture.
is. She carried the wags for many years.
She did.
And that, it was a true loss.
Do
To
your impression of her on Piers Morgan live stories.
Or Cheryl, or you know what, my Geordie accent is actually really good. She was like, you know what, people used to write about stories, but you know, it was salacious gossip to then, but it was me life.
It was me life.
It was me
Yeah,
life.
I sympathise.
I
Very good,
sympathise.
by the way.
Thank you.
And I do sympathise with that.
Excellent.
But I do think this is important. This is important stuff, and it's also like,
Yeah.
what is it saying about society, right?
Yeah.
In terms of
Okay, if you can broaden this out for me.
Yeah, hang on. It says a lot
Let's
about
unpack this.
social media culture.
Okay, go for
does,
it. Go
yeah.
for it.
It's
I'm listening.
it is the fact that we
That is
feel the
bullshit.
compulsive need to share things.
Yes, which is
a
I've just
factor.
said don't.
Yeah, but as in, that is inherent in all of us that we want to share things.
My IG is private. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but Harriet, you don't know that people if you got famous, that you don't have people in there just because they're private who would leak your personal
Yeah,
information.
true.
What's private? What's not? Big questions.
I also think that there is a bit of classism at play.
This is interesting.
Because Coleen is obviously
Yes.
and Wayne are from like working class Liverpool.
Yeah.
And because
God,
of her voice,
parents are amazing.
Oh my god, what amazing
I
people!
know.
Yeah.
people think that she's not everyone, but there are of your prejudice.
Yeah,
and actually she's highly intelligent
Yeah.
and is a businesswoman and
Yeah.
lots of other things. So I
And
think
sorry,
that
was
plays into
able
as
to
well.
work this out in a way that I didn't think I would be able to. I mean, this
Yeah.
is this like
clever.
forget A levels. This is much more impressive. Yeah. I agree, Sherri. I really agree.
Layered.
Yeah,
Layered
it is
indeed,
it.
yeah.
And it's it's funny, isn't it, that the hype around the Beckham docu compared to this. I wonder what the viewing figures will be.
That is so true.
I just think
how
this has had
many parts is it?
For
I think
same as Beckham.
I think this has had a quieter launch. I just think this will. I think this
on
was a
Disney,
slow
right?
burner. It's on Disney.
Yeah.
Exactly,
I also
yeah.
think that's a thing, as in more people have Netflix, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah.
I did love
wait
Beckham
to
as well,
watch.
though.
You'd love to
I
watch.
did love Beckham.
Oh well, we
Say,
talked about it last
I know
week.
you talked about it. No, I don't think anyone brought up that it was basically a football documentary.
I love that, though.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
good.
said,
I was really
if you're
bored.
not into football, you're going to be quite bored.
I love that.
Yes.
I love a sporting doc.
Yeah, well, I mean,
No,
like,
hang on. There's a difference. I like a sporting doc. Like we both liked the one about the American football people.
What's it called again?
Quarterback.
quarterback, yeah.
I like it when in Drive to Survive. That's not the same as reflecting on someone's footballing career.
But I think for him, it was so fascinating because obviously we lived through him, having that red card.
Hodge, maybe you remember it better than I do.
I think I do.
Rude.
I do remember. I do remember.
I think I was working behind a bar maybe when that happened. Really.
That's fun.
But so it was so fascinating, and because we were so young, you particularly young, we didn't really understand the impact and what a strong person he was. Like we've talked about this before, but
Yeah.
to deal with that, like it was insane.
I mean, we can flawed in other ways, but yes, strong in his
obviously.
Actually,
ability to take on the
and
tabloids.
sorry, I was going to say, and what the other thing about the other documentary about the Colleen Rooney, something worth analysing is the British press and
Yeah.
the tabloid media.
true.
And I mean, God, what we saw in the Beckham documentary
Dogfight.
was. Ruthless. And you'd like to think it's changed, but it hasn't changed because Colleen Rooney's life is still, however menial those parts of her lives are,
Yeah.
it's still like the minute you're famous, your life is theirs for the taking, and that is
Exactly.
screwed up. We were watching it, and Ben just goes, "Who the hell would want to be famous?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Here, it
Yeah.
looks awful."
Yeah.
Agreed.
So no, what's that? Have either of you watched anything good? Reading anything good?
I haven't really watched anything good. I'm very intrigued to know if anyone's planning to read the Britney book.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
you would.
So this is Britney Spears' autobiography. It came out at midnight last night. Did you see there was like how people used to go and queue for Harry Potter?
Yeah.
It was like that. There was like
Wow.
a Britney Spears like launch party.
Well, they've been
no,
teasing it for quite a few days, haven't they? I think
have.
did the abortion story come out over the weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About
it
Justin
is. I think
Timberlake.
last week, yeah.
Yeah.
That was in the Sunday
That's
Times.
quite hard
wasn't it?
hitting for the first thing to come out. What I found fascinating, I was saying to Heather yesterday, was because she was saying, I'm shocked that that's in the book, that he's not going to kick off. And apparently the book was sent to him and a couple of other people that she mentions. So they took out quite a lot of information, apparently, at their request, their lawyer's request. But this stayed in.
Because I guess,
yeah.
but if it's true, you can't claim libel, can you? And presumably you'd have medical records to prove
Presumably
it.
not, but you might try and just exert a bit of pressure for her not to include it.
I don't, yeah.
Yeah,
Surely you
it's
can get an
tricky.
injunction. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what the legal ins and outs are, but basically all I'm trying to
That
say
stayed
is
in.
like,
Yeah.
that stayed in. What the hell was taken out?
But
That's
what
very
is it about
true.
the abortions?
Just that she had one.
Just that
one.
she got pregnant with Justin Timberlake when she was 19. They'd obviously been dating for a really long time, and now that the book is out, it's also been revealed that she was basically sexually active from 14. She was on the Mickey Mouse Club when she was 12.
Oh
so
my
not that the
gosh.
Mickey Mouse Club was sexualized, but obviously she's thrust into a
Yeah.
very adult
She grew up
environment
quickly.
very
Yeah, true.
quickly. And she says also growing up in Louisiana, she came from a sort of semi-abusive household. Her father was a drinker, and she was smoking, drinking, driving from basically the age of 13. And then, she fell pregnant at 19 unexpectedly. She says, although it was a surprise, surprised. She was actually really happy about it. But obviously everyone around her was like, this cannot happen. Like, this has to go away. But they had to do it sort of under the radar so that, you know, even if she went to a hospital, there'd be records, like someone would sell it to the press. So she basically had it done at home, which
Jesus,
I'm not,
that's
you know, I'm
awful.
sure it was
Sanitary,
yeah. But she still describes it as extremely unpleasant and painful.
God, poor her.
I know. So you just think stuff like that. No wonder the rest of, you know, everything else that we know happened to her happened, because she's traumatized before she's even turned 20.
This is, I mean, speaking of, you know, the press, the tabloid, like what they can do to someone's life. Like, obviously she had the wrong people in her life anyway. I believe it's, you know, we obviously know about her father's conservatorship. They were saying on the news this morning that in the book she says that she, you know, okay, I'll go under the conservatorship, but anyone other than my father, and that's obviously who ended up being in control, and, you know, all the terrible things that came along with that. Like, so she had the wrong people leading her life anyway, but then on top of that, the press interest and the level of scrutiny and just like, how can anyone withstand that?
No,
like,
exactly.
I just don't know how you could ever be okay and be normal. And she's, I mean, it's even remarkable that she's kind of come as far as she has, like with all her ups and downs. I don't know. I think
so true. Yeah.
I think the admiration that like that all of us have for her is just because we know what she endured, and it was just so public and just like, awful.
But she
Reveling in
shares-
her fall. Like,
Yes,
the press
exactly.
just gripping onto her. Like, remember when her head was shaved?
Yeah. Well, she talks about that. I saw
She
that she
does.
said that she did that as like a fuck you moment, basically, rather than like a kind of, I think it was
I'm
pitched as like
breaking down,
psychosis, exactly like a breakdown, but I think it was more of a like, okay, I'm taking control. You want something to write about, like, I'm going to give it to you.
She also sheds a lot of light on like things. We know certain things were going on around the head shaving time. Like, obviously she was getting divorced, and there was a pretty intense custody battle for her two sons. She was temporarily banned from spending time with them, which she said felt really difficult, obviously. But then her aunt also passed away, like, really unexpectedly, whom she was very close to in the same year. So I imagine there was all of these things going on behind the scenes. Did anyone ever watch, I think it was called, like, Britney Spears on the Record? It was basically when the conservatorship had come in, and she'd maybe been under it for about 2 years. And I think Circus was the album that had come out. So that was like the first album in a long time that felt bit more like the old Britney, as opposed to, what was the one, is it called Pieces of Me, the album where she's got like the black hair and it's quite
Dark.
well, it's a departure, shall we say,
Yeah,
from In the Zone.
yeah, Circus was old school.
Circus felt much more, well,
did.
I always got the sense for Circus that there were now people behind the scenes sort of pulling it, reining it all back in, and they made this documentary. And I remember at the time her saying that her favourite thing to do was drive, because basically no one could get to her. And then this guy who's doing it, I think you can still watch it on YouTube, he says to her, if we were to leave this building and just walk down the street, like, what would happen? And she goes, oh, we cannot leave without security, like, at all. No, we can't leave this room without security. And he's like, well, why? And she's like, because we'll leave this room and within 3 minutes there will be like 100 people
You won't
who
be able to
want
physically
to
move down
touch
the
me.
street. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
can you
that's
imagine
not
that
a
life? Like, if
living
I
life.
said we're going to walk out this door now and we can't leave without security.
Yeah, horrible.
Also, who are these people that want to touch people?
Good question.
Yeah, too many.
I girl crush on a lot of celebrities.
No, I wouldn't feel the need to touch them.
Cute to touch them. It's crazy.
Yeah.
No, I know.
I always think of, I don't know if you know the One Direction documentary, This Is Us.
I haven't watched it,
Oh,
but-
you're missing out.
Yeah.
And there's this moment where they're in, I think they're in Mexico City, and they're basically doing kind of talking heads in rooms by themselves. So Niall's in the middle of this like big, it's almost like a hotel ballroom. It's like a couple of floors up. With these big windows, and he's kind of sat in the middle of the room doing talking heads, and they're asking him about their levels of fame and like how famous they are, and he's like, watch this, gets up, walks all the way to the back of the room, opens the window, and you hear this roar, and basically there's thousands, right, have you seen it? There's thousands of people just standing outside just because one day, and he literally is like, "Roar!" And then he shuts it, and it's quiet again. It's crazy.
God.
Like, again,
The hysteria.
hysteria. You wouldn't wish it on anyone.
Fun for like a day, surely, and then you
Yeah.
realise that this is the rest of your life.
Ben and I always say this when we're like, whenever we're on holiday and we're like, you know, whether you're walking around a new city or you're just hanging out, you're getting a coffee, like doing those really ordinary things when you're traveling. We're always like, Justin Bieber could never do this. We always say that, like he could never
Kim
do this.
Kardashian
It's
says
just
the
so
one thing she
sad.
misses is food shopping.
I mean, but like those little mundane life moments, like, okay, of course, obviously you get incredible experiences that ordinary, you know, the rest of us don't get access to. But would you trade those for just everyday life? I don't think so.
I don't think I would.
Way. No.
I love
And the
going
big
to
thing
Waitrose.
actually, and this is like
Me too.
I actually do. I have no time to go to Waitrose. I do not can't do all that. I miss going to Waitrose.
You're too famous to go to
I think for me, it would definitely be the safety thing. I can remember in the Harry and Meghan documentary, I had real sympathy for when Meghan was talking about they'd moved to Canada and they were in Tyler Perry's house, I think, sort of temporarily while they got their bearings. And she goes on Twitter, which fair enough, maybe she shouldn't be going on Twitter because, you know, there's visceral opinion out there. But she was on Twitter for whatever reason and she's just scrolling through and basically every message is a death threat. We're coming for you. We're coming for your children.
Oh my God.
Like, we're going to do this. And like she said, the specifics, like people are saying specifically what they've organised to do to me and my children.
Oh, so messed up.
And then she says, I'm like walking around the house and I'm paranoid because
course
it's not
you
my
would be.
house. So I don't, like, Tyler Perry tells me it's secure, but like, is it? Like, how do the locks work? Like, where are the kids? Are they safe? Are they sleeping? Like, and you just like hear this panic like ratchet up in her voice. And she's like, people think this is a game, but this is now my life. Like, and it really brought it home to me that like how your world just like literally must go like this. And you just feel completely
But
immobilised.
internet trolls can do that to anyone. Like you don't, it's, unfortunately these days you don't even have to be putting yourself out there. Like, and okay, Meghan fell in love with someone and that, but you don't even have to be choosing the limelight in order for people to come at you like that. Like that's the most horrifying thing, that there are people out there who are just so willing to just take people down. And like, I think unless. I can't imagine how anyone is so cruel that they can be thinking this is a real person and I'm gonna make them live with paranoia. I'd like to think that whoever all these trolls are just forgetting that that's a real person out there somewhere with feelings. I mean, you'd have to, because otherwise, where the hell is their soul? I don't know. But
this is why they're trolls, because I don't think half the people would say or do anything in real life.
But this is what blows my mind. I don't understand. I literally can't. People always say, trolls are people who feel bad about themselves. And, you've got to just think about like whatever because they've got low self-esteem. Look, we all walk around and have moments where we have low self-esteem or feel bad about ourselves. I've never felt so bad about myself that I would ever even consider writing a mean comment to another person about another person. Like, so how, like, again, I just don't get where your brain is to do that. I don't know. It blows my mind.
It's extraordinary.
It really is. It really blows my mind. Will you be reading the Britney book?
Absolutely. I cannot wait. Although I've just finished Julia Fox's book, which was
how was that?
Excellent. It's really good.
But
But it's very hard hitting. So
She's had a hard life, right?
Yeah, really hard life. Like she was like on heroin when she was like 13.
Yeah.
And then she obviously talks about Kanye a lot. She calls him the artist, which is really interesting. Because that was quite a heavy read, I think I need some light relief.
Yeah. Is she
and then I'll go into
but is she positive about Kanye?
Not-ish. I mean, she's not like negative. She kind of speaks of him in like this, like he's a
Quite removed way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's interesting, but he was like, you can't write about anything, and made her sign an NDA, and she wrote about everything.
Oh, right, cool.
Yeah,
Just go
Yeah, but this is why I love her.
Yeah, ditto.
Yeah, so
She's got the biggest
unfiltered.
balls.
And she just seems like a cool gal.
Yeah.
Got a lot of time for Julia.
I love that she's written a book.
I know.
I feel like she's had a renaissance, but it's not even like she has been around for that long. She just had like a really quick like moment of fame and then a renaissance.
Yeah,
Like Victoria Beckham wrote a book pretty early on.
Yeah, exactly.
Much
Learning
more
to
stuff
fly
to
is
say.
a classic.
That's the one.
It's a classic.
I've not read it.
Charlotte, you
Would I love it? I wonder
you
if it's
would
an audio.
love
book.
it.
Do
I
you
should
revisit
listen to
it?
It's
Just
like
for
it's
a
like a
moral
90s
compass.
time capsule.
Oh, I need
because
to.
it literally she's just like she's so funny through the whole thing. Okay, have you watched the Beckham?
Sorry, you're being serious.
Sorry, but also, Harriet, who's been on her high horse about Colleen Rooney, is now saying that Victoria Beckham.
Colleen Rooney is not Victoria Beckham. Sorry.
I say there's a cultural, what's the word, parallel there. But anyway,
Minor crossover in that their husbands do the same thing.
Anyway,
So there's a bit in the Beckham documentary where I've literally made fun of this soundbite to like all my friends and family. Like I will perform it at dinner parties, which is that they're watching, the Spice Girls are on tour somewhere and they're watching David play, and it's the early days of their courtship. Victoria's got her short hair. She sat on the windowsill afterwards and she's like, "Hi, babe. Yeah, it was so good. You were so good. I'm so proud. It was so good. Yeah, you were amazing." yeah, I watched you. You were amazing. And it's just literally
So
like this
inane,
conversation where you're just like, sorry, David Beckham was on the other end of this phone call being like, this is the girl for me.
Yeah. yeah.
Also, I must have played well because whatever, Alex Ferguson.
Whereas she sat there in 2023 being like, yeah, I don't give a shit about football.
I don't really get
There's
it.
one bit where she's like, yeah, I saw you score. You were amazing. I was like,
God.
Look,
Too much.
We
It's
all
too much.
need a hype man in our lives.
Yes,
She's obviously been
so
his hype
true.
man. you
But
know?
basically, that is her autobiography. It's one big like love letter to David Beckham.
Oh God,
that's lovely.
I don't know if I can read that. Knowing what I know about Rebecca Lees, I don't know if I can.
And it's very much the vibe of, I come from a working class background. Yes, my dad had a Rolls Royce.
We're just gonna live with the juxtaposition there, and just
It was
go
very
with
much like, I couldn't afford a school bag, so my mum gave me her Gucci shopping bag to carry my books around.
Interesting. Just one big
I'm sure she
oxymoron,
gets
isn't
that.
she?
Oh,
Yeah.
Vicky
No,
Bean.
I'm a
love
massive
it.
fan. I love her.
Yeah, literally, what a legend.
So.
All right, Sherri, you brought something along to talk about.
Yes, I did. So, my friend on Instagram sent me a truly wild image of, well, it wasn't an image, it's like a deep fake, but it's not, it's AI of Kendall Jenner, because she has cut a deal with Meta, as has Snoop Dogg, to kind of like sell their looks to Meta, who will then use the, I guess, like an AI version of themselves.
Their likeness.
Their likeness, exactly, to now be an AI bot. So Kendall's one is really strange. So she is now referred to as a big sis or a ride or die companion.
Hasn't she got another name?
Yes. So it's not actually Kendall. Billy. Her name's Billy.
But this I find
Which
so
is so
confusing.
strange.
Very weird.
Because we know
Very
she's
weird.
Kendall.
Yeah, Billy IE. Does that make
I
sense?
don't know.
That's
Billy.
where we're getting to. And how does you spell Billy? The crucial part of the
Billy with a wiser boy, isn't it?
Yeah, Billy IE.
Just in case anyone at home was stressed.
It's so strange. So yeah, they're chatbots, and you can like chat to her, and it's so weird because Kendall Jenner in real life is so deadpan. No disrespect, personality nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm on
take
Sherri's
umbrage at
side
that.
100%.
Really?
Have
Yeah.
you seen the
Kardashians.
cucumber cutting?
That is
okay. Fine. Maybe
that's
that's
not
off.
reflective of her personality.
Maybe
that's her
that's-
culinary skills.
But she is very like she's very deadpan and just like
She's mellow.
mellow,
She's very
mellow,
chill
very
vibes.
very chill.
Yeah.
The chatbot is like really chirpy. She's like, hey, how can I assist you today? I'm your big sister. What can I
But she's
do?"
Billy, not Kendall.
But she's Billy. So yeah. So Kendall's just sold her.
But you're not going to have a chatbot that's like super grumpy. I can't be bothered to help you.
Oh, I prefer that. I'd be like, Billy, what are you having for lunch today? And be like, oh, Diet Coke, whatever.
And sorry, is the idea that you just chat to Billy about what she's having for lunch,
Yeah.
or can Billy tell you, like, I don't know, who was involved in the Battle of Hastings? Like, is she basically like, is she AI? Like, is she a replacement for
think so.
ChatGPT, or is she just to chat
We're
to?
getting further and further
Yeah,
from Kendall,
I
aren't we?
think, yeah, I think it's similar to ChatGPT.
I think Kendall might know that information. You don't know. You think it's the ChatGPT style?
Yeah,
one?
yeah, exactly. You can ask her like.
You can ask her
It's
anything.
like a search engine.
Do you know what I think this will
thing.
become? I think it will become The Hills, Justin Bobby.
What, in what way?
Bobby.
Yeah, in the sense that his name was Justin, but he wanted everyone to call him Bobby. So then Lauren Conrad nicknamed him Justin Bobby.
So you think this should be
Oh, I
Kendall
see.
Billy?
should be Billy Kendall, yeah.
Maybe. That's again not what I'm taking from
I was
this.
not expecting that.
No.
Good side note.
Sorry. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, anyway.
So yeah, I'm just so intrigued. I want to know how much money.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
what
how
did
much
they
did she
pay
pay?
her?
Yeah, that's what we care about.
It doesn't say, but it will be. I mean, it's going to be a lot.
Tens of
I
millions.
have
I've
to
got to
say-
say.
Kardashian girls are making some serious waves.
They are, but I also just feel like for me this is a step too far.
Yeah.
There's not. I can genuinely say this. There's not an amount of money that I would pay for. No one would want an AI of a chatbot of me.
You never know.
If we do
Sherri.
LMK. No, but you know what I mean. Like, there's not a number that I would pay for
No.
someone to create something
They
because
could
then
make you say anything.
exactly, and then also someone like my mum would see that and think it was me, and I'd be saying God knows whatever. Do you know what I mean? The older generation, they aren't
True.
clued up on these things, which is why that deep fake of Martin Lewis recently
So
went viral.
so creepy and dangerous.
It
really
really scares
creepy.
me, the
Yeah.
deepfake stuff.
Yeah, and I don't think Billy is going to be saying anything.
Well, presumably that's why they've called her Billy, not Kendall, so
This
that
is a
people
good
know the
point,
distinction.
yes.
Yeah. But then why use her
though.
likeness?
Just make,
why not
just make an
create-
avatar. Just make
Create
a new
an
person.
avatar, like Lil Michaela, who is I don't know if you guys know who she is, but she's an AI model, and brands have been. I mean, there's a couple of them out there. She's got a huge social media following. She's created by like one guy, I think, and brands have used her. Like I remember remember her being on the cover of Evening Standard magazine at one point.
wow.
Brands use her for ad campaigns, but she's entirely fake. She's an avatar. So I don't understand why you wouldn't go for that rather than
create
taking
a beautiful face.
Yeah, why take Kendall Jenner's face? I just don't understand that part. So sorry, they've developed a Snoop Dogg one as well.
Yeah, the Snoop Dogg one actually sounds quite funny.
What's his name going to be?
His name is...
I hope it's something really conservative,
No.
Larry.
Conservative.
Yeah, like Larry or...
It is Dungeon Master.
Okay.
That is really not like Larry at all.
Yeah. So no, it sounds BDSM, but it's not. He's going to assist users to play games. So yeah,
Fascinating.
I see it more for
Fascinating.
Snoop Dogg because he's actually really funny.
Yeah.
And I feel like he'd take it less serious.
Yeah.
I guess, do you think they've done, I suppose our question is, why have they used these people's faces as opposed to creating their own avatars, their own bots? Like, do you think that's just to encourage people to use it? Like, would you, I guess we're talking about it now, right? Like, maybe we wouldn't even acknowledge it if it was just a
It's
random
not
person.
going to be them answering the questions.
No, it's...
So what's the point?
I don't know.
I think with Kendall, because she's obviously so famous and people really do look up to her, it's kind of like having because the chatbot is so realistic, it is like having a conversation with her.
Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily be asking her who was in the Battle of Hastings. You'd be like, how's your day? And she'd almost be like a friend, wouldn't she?
I think that's what she's for, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm your big sister. Like,
Okay.
which is a bit weird.
And so how do you access it?
I don't know.
Where is it? What is it? Where do you find it?
Yeah. Is it on my laptop?
Is it an app? Do I have it?
Maybe.
So I think it's just on Facebook.
So you'd have to go
You
onto
can access
Facebook.
them on Facebook for free.
For free?
Random.
Facebook. I never look at Facebook.
I'd say I look at Facebook maybe once a week. Like I just open it and then I remember every time why I do.
Yeah, I'm
Wait,
probably
that's
like
quite
once a
a lot.
fortnight.
I don't have Facebook anymore.
No.
Oh really?
I didn't
Not
for a long
about
time.
10 years, yeah.
Do you not want it for the photo memories? That's all. Like I keep it like super limited. Oh really? I've got albums
Yeah,
there.
I'd like to leave this behind.
I hope that is pride of place.
Really?
On Facebook. Coleen.
No, that's post Facebook.
Oh,
I don't know. It's
really?
just like, you know, when you'd have a Facebook album of a holiday and you would upload 500
Yeah.
photos.
Yeah, but
I don't think I need to see it.
I like being able to have access to all of that because that
nostalgic.
predates like my iCloud. So if I don't have those photos
Yeah,
there, I'm sure you can download them all from Facebook. I wouldn't know
I'm
how.
very
but-
happy to know
True.
that my future employers will not be able to find.
Oh, I'm like
drugs.
I think I'm pretty
True.
airtight on Facebook. Like I think
Yeah.
you have to be my friend to see anything. But I just want to, Zanti
their
08.
things.
It's important to
Yeah.
still be able
That's
to see
how
those.
they might-
Zanti 08, Maga 09. Those pigs aren't going anywhere else.
That's how they might sell your stories, babe.
Zanti 08.
Not to Facebook.
What, they're
doubt
going
it's
to get a
airtight.
photo of me wearing heels on the Zanti strip and just the
Oh my
headline will
gosh.
be, what idiot wears heels in
Fashion
Zanti?
editor, question mark.
Claims she's a fashion editor. She wore heels and Zanti. Mortifying. Okay, let's move on and answer some questions. Okay, somebody has said, do you have any suggestions for a blazer that suits work and social? I love the Blasi Milano style, but it is too expensive for me. I feel like we're edging away from... Look, we will always love blazers, but you two are case in
I was
point.
going to say,
that-
the only blazer on
That
this
is very
couch.
true.
That's very unusual that there's just one blazer on
Yeah.
Shearlock's couch.
Yeah.
Sorry, always stand a blazer. But there are other options out
Yeah.
there for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
For those who can't see Hodge and Harriet, describe your jackets.
Well, mine is the Massimo one that I think almost every person in this office has.
That's cozy.
It
I don't
is
have
cozy, but it's not sweaty. It's like it's very dry.
Oh,
it's
that's
not
nice.
got that like sort
Sorry, I
of
think I
shiny.
took off it with me. Sorry.
It's not that like shiny fluff that starts to feel quite sweaty after
Yeah.
a while. They have just released it this year in like a darker grey, which
nice.
is
Really
I
nice.
thought they've got a khaki as well.
Do
I
they?
made that
Yeah.
up.
I mean,
brown.
I love it. I wore it a lot last year and cracked it out again.
Yeah, that's great. And Hodge, yours?
Mine is a like tweed crop jacket, but I've gone like 3 sizes too big.
Where's that from?
It's from Abercrombie and Fitch.
Is it?
We shouldn't
so
sound
much
so
more
surprised
expensive.
because we also do work with Abercrombie. This isn't an ad, but we work with
Yeah.
Abercrombie, and actually, it always does look amazing online. So anyway, this cardigan-y, well, it's a kind of
Yeah.
Chanel-inspired tweedy
Yeah.
cardigan-y style jacket. Is safe.
Yeah.
So basically, that's a nice alternative
Yeah.
to a blazer.
And Zara have those, well, they're everywhere, but those sort of smarter bombers.
Yes.
Which looks so nice as a grey one,
Yeah.
and you can wear that for work.
Yes. Maya was
Okay,
wearing one the other day, a really good one. I can't remember where it was from. But again, that's slightly more structured.
Yeah.
And it's in
bomber.
the fabrication as well. I would stay away from like slinky fabrics
Yeah.
and go
Yeah.
for something more structured.
And
Totally
go
agree.
oversized.
Yeah.
I totally agree. That didn't answer your question at all. But anyway, okay. Sherri, you're wearing a lovely blazer today. Where's that from?
This is Zara via Vintage.
Of course
course
it
it
is.
is.
Good girl. Okay, someone has said, this is a nice question. I'm hiring a big Airbnb in Dorset for a long 30th birthday weekend with 12 of my friends early next year. I was just wondering if anyone has any ideas or tips for making the rest of the weekend extra special. It can be day or nighttime options, food or drink ideas, decorations, themes, games, or anything else. All inspo. Come.
Based on Coleen.
Based on Colleen.
Coleen.
Oh, yeah.
Matching PJs.
Oh yeah, matching PJs. she goes
She's
to
big into
farmhouse with her
matching
friends
PJs.
and they get matching PJs. It's
Yeah,
true.
true.
That's true.
But aside from that, I think for 30th, it would be so nice to do like a goodie bag.
Oh, that's a really nice
Cute,
idea.
yeah.
And you can, and it doesn't have to be expensive. You can sort of, print photos out of
Yeah.
you and who and the birthday girl. Or,
Yeah.
But just so everyone has, and paracetamol or Barocca.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
All the classics.
But it's so nice to go somewhere and there's a goodie bag.
Yeah.
I've got a funny story about a goodie bag. A friend of mine is really good friends with a super, super, super wealthy girl. She married this guy who owns a big company. I won't say who. But she was going to her 40th and she was like, what should I get her? And she said, should I get her one of those bags? What was the bags which were huge a couple of years ago and you could get your name? Oh, they were really big. It was like a wicker bag.
Oh, Ray Feather.
Yeah, Ray
Yeah.
Feather. So she was like, I think I'm gonna get a Ray Feather bag, and I was like, I wouldn't do that, babe. I think she'll definitely have that. Anyway, so she messaged me when she got to the party, which they'd hired like a village in Italy, and she messaged me. Jeremy Clarkson did he was there and he did a Who Wants to Be a Billionaire.
Stop. That's
live.
amazing. The game.
Like, and she was the birthday girl was on
Love
the stage.
that.
Oh, it was wild. But anyway, it was funny because she got there. She was like, "Thank God I didn't do that."
Is that the
Ray
goodie
Feather
bag?
It was the goodie bag for all of the guests.
That was the freebie for everybody. Oh no.
Imagine, here we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Don't try and buy presents for billionaires.
So is the upshot of this hire Jeremy Clarkson?
Yeah, tell me what the takeaway is from that story. I enjoyed it, but it's not that helpful.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
goodie bag.
Two goodie bags that not everyone has
Yeah.
got.
Yes.
Okay, noted.
nice.
Yeah. Any other ideas?
I think if you have some budget to play with,
I know what
I
you're
would
gonna
hire a chef
Yeah.
for the evening.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
nice.
Or just get someone to make
Even
your
just
life
one meal,
a
yeah.
little bit easier. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be dinner like
Eloise.
even if it's just like a really nice breakfast.
Yeah.
Or someone who can like serve champagne and canapes,
Yeah,
make
lovely.
it feel a little bit more
Yes.
elevated.
Yeah.
And the cleaning up, because that is a lad.
Yeah.
exactly.
Or just maybe like a drinks truck or something to come.
Yeah,
and
fun.
do
That's
something
cool.
fun.
Yeah, and also get some kind of karaoke situation.
Well,
Yes,
that was
that's
going to be my.
good.
This is slightly more hen territory, but something I think I've done it on 3 separate hens, none of whom are friends with one another. It's something called Rockyoke, which is a company who come to your house. They're a live band. There's like 3 of them, and you can do karaoke with them. So
that's
it's basically like your Britney Spears moment, and it is the best activity ever.
Wind
Like,
machines.
Wind machines. You've got a band behind you. You've got a drummer, and you can just go for it. It is
so
like the
fun.
most. Yeah, it's just a bit more fun than
I mean, that and a
trad
margarita
karaoke.
bar. What else do you need?
What else do you need?
I don't even need a margarita, but I just need a bottle of tequila. Off we go. I do think some sort of game is fun as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for listening. Don't forget, you can ask questions on social every weekend or go to the SheerLuxe community and ask us there. If you've got any feedback at all, please do email podcast@sheerluxe.com. We love hearing from you. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and tell your friends. And we'll see you next time. Bye.